Most people, what they do is that they go straight into transition. Transition is anything associated with action, right? And they skip the awareness part. So right now, I'm giving you the awareness part because if you're unaware, then you're going to fall prey to your current identity. Welcome to Indomitable, a podcast designed for those of you who hunger to develop an unbreakable relationship with your spirit, which is the Spirit of God within us. I'm Emmanuel, and I'll be delivering truth and strategy which will allow you to connect the dots between God, your mind, body, and the powerful universe that you created. It's time to pick up our swords and fight. Welcome. All right, welcome, my friend, to the first episode of the Indomitable Podcast. My name's Emmanuel Casada. I am your host, and today we're going to be talking about what I believe is one of the most important subjects that one must learn if they are going to be progressive in stepping up in life, regardless of what area of life they're trying to step up in. And I believe that intention is where most people fail. And I believe that intention requires a lot of strategy, which is why I'm very big on intention. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to start off with intention, given that it's the first episode. Number two, tomorrow is the new year, 2025. So I know that you are going to be setting intentions for the new year. And I also know that 95% of people who set an intention will never fulfill that intention. That's a really big number. And simply put, we're just not understanding how intention works. So my job is to educate you who is wanting to consistently evolve, that you're not just a reader, but you're a doer, and you want to live up to your highest and your fullest potential, not just for you, but for the generations to come, your children, your children's children. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. I'm going to keep this as short as possible without leaving out any of the details. Before I start, I want to encourage you to get yourself some notes. Do not be passive about this. Do not let this become another podcast that you just skim through and then move on to the next and the next and the next. That is the habit or the pattern that most people have developed. And that's why they really don't become anything greater and they don't accomplish anything greater, because of the way that they learn. So I'm going to encourage you to save this podcast and to go back to it, linger on this podcast for about a week at least, and make it your intention going into the new year to learn on how to set an intention, and then go to develop mastery in setting an intention. Because once you develop mastery with setting an intention, then you're going to progress so fast into everything and anything that you set your heart and mind to do. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. We're going to be talking about intention, which includes speed. It includes focus, and it includes attitude as well. So we want to start off with attitude. Before you set an intention, you want to make sure that you crank up your attitude, because if you don't crank up your attitude, then your intention is not going to take ground, okay? So you must be serious about this. You cannot be passive about it. You got to take on an attitude. You got to get angry. You got to get courageous, right? You have to understand why you're doing this. If you're doing it just for yourself, then you're not going to go far enough, man. You got to do this for something greater than you. So Indomitable is a human being that doesn't live to serve themselves, right? They live to serve a cause greater than themselves. And when you're living for a cause greater than yourself, your wife, your husband, your children, your children's children, children that you're never going to meet, right? Your employees, the people that you lead, your friends, right? It's a lot easier to follow through with developing new habits. So an attitude is always going to be number one. And then, of course, number two is going to be the intention in itself, right? So we have to understand what intention is and what's going to happen when we set an intention. Because if we're not aware of what's going to happen after the fact that we set an intention, then our intention is going to die, and we're going to become another part of the 95% of people who set a goal, yet they never followed through. So what happens when we're setting an intention? Well, what happens when we're setting an intention? An intention is a thought, right? It's a thought and it's a belief, right? That you are creating within your mind and that you are intending to follow through with. So what happens when you plant this intention or this thought, this belief? I believe that I am somebody who is going to get one of the most amazing bodies that he or she has ever had. Well, Once you set that intention, what's going to happen is that you're going to experience resistance. What is resistance? Or where is resistance coming from? Resistance is coming from your current identity. So this is the habit that you've been exercising for the last 20, 25, 30, 35 years, or however long you've been you've been alive. So you want to be very aware that there's going to be resistance, and that toxic previous you, right, is going to try to hold you back, and that's completely normal. But if you're aware of this, then this allows you to override about 50% of your previous identity's momentum, okay, just by having that awareness. I love how Tony Robbins says, awareness is the first step to transition. You see, most people, what they do is that they go straight into transition. Transition is anything associated with action, right? And they skip the awareness part. So right now, I'm giving you the awareness part, because if you're unaware, then you're going to fall prey to your current identity, which is who you have currently become. This is the habit that you've currently developed and have been exercising for X amount of years. So awareness of that resistance factor is going to be key to gaining momentum with your intention. So we got over here on the left-hand side, the habit, this is who you currently are, and then we have your intention over here on the right-hand side. Okay, so we want to step into this guy right here. Number one, like I said, it's going to be that attitude. Number two, you're aware that there's going to be resistance from your current identity, okay? And that awareness is going to give you about 30 to 50% momentum, excuse me, 30 to 50% momentum on your new identity, your new intention. Now, what's next? Speed, okay? So we want to close the gap in between your intention and the next step. The more space there is in between your intention and the next step, the more power you're giving to your current identity to step in and to distract you and to discourage you. So you want to take speed into deep consideration here, and you want to move as fast as possible. Move as fast as you possible, okay? The faster you move with your new intention, the more momentum your new intention gets. So see this like votes. Your current identity, it's got a lot of votes already. You've been exercising this action for many years now. So we're going to need a lot of strategy, and you're going to need a lot of votes. So this is why I highly suggest that speed is implemented to back up your intention, okay? When I decided that I was going to start this podcast, well, I understood that my previous identity, it's going to give me hell. It's going to give me hell, and not only the previous identity was going to give me hell, but it was also all of those fears, right? All the fears were going to to amplify the fear of speaking in front of the camera, the fear of what if I don't say the right thing? What if I don't say it the right way? What if I'm judged, right? So when you gain speed, which basically means you're closing the gap between your intention and the manifestation of what you desire to become, right? You're overriding a lot of the beliefs that are attached to your current identity. And because if you don't gain that speed, then I'm telling you, the current identity, it's going to eat you up alive, and you're going to become another part of the 95% of people. So you want to gain tons of momentum, and you want to gain speed, okay? Now, in this factor of gaining speed, what you want to do as well, is you want to reinforce your decision, okay? When I say reinforce, I mean you want to do something that says you're serious about this, right? You want to say something that is going to empower, support, and contribute to your new identity's momentum. So for example, I wrote a letter in 2013. I'm not going to go into details about this on another episode. I'm going to talk about how to discover your purpose and how to move in direction of your purpose effortlessly and easily. But in 2013, I set an intention. This was shortly after I got caught by the law. I wrote this letter, minutes, as a matter of fact, after I almost got caught by the law. And I said, you know what? I know there's a better life for me. I know that I have a purpose, but I don't know what that purpose is, but I know that you know. When I say you, I meant God, which is the Holy Spirit of God within me, right? So what I did is that I said, I'm tired of this life. I'm tired of the life that I'm living. I know I'm a good quality human being, and I know there's something greater for me. So I'm going to set an intention to discover what my purpose is. So I set an intention, you see, but I set it with an attitude. It's got to be serious, right? Because if you're not serious about it, then your current identity, once again, it's going to suck you back in. I want you to imagine for a second here that you're in a relationship with somebody who doesn't value and they don't appreciate you. Okay. So imagine yourself saying, you know what, enough is enough. Okay. And I want you to listen to the energy with which I'm speaking, right? I'm going to give you two scenarios, right? Because we're talking here about how to set an intention and what happens when you don't set the right intention, when you don't set the intention the right way. So if you say, I'm fed up with this relationship, right? Or I'm fed up with this body. I'm gonna develop a new body. I'm gonna increase my finances. I'm gonna take my relationship to the next level. Okay. I'm gonna quit my dead-end job and I'm gonna look for something better. Right. When you come with that energy, right, and what happens is that your current identity, just so back to, let's say your current identity is that toxic person that you're in a relationship with. So what happens is that because you're not serious enough about it, the person that you're intending to leave, they say, you're full of crap. This guy's full of crap. He's not going anywhere because your energy's too low, right? And because they don't believe that you're actually going to move forward with leaving them for a better life, they're just going to suck you back in. They're going to convince you that you don't have what it takes to enter into a better quality relationship. They're going to prove to you that you are not worth it, right? And that you deserve to stay where you've been for the last 10, 15, 20, 25 years. So this is why reinforcing your intention is very important. I took it upon myself to write this letter. You don't have to write a letter. That's just the thing that my spirit quickened me to do, right? To write a letter, right? Not only that, but I went on a hike, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I went on a hike, right? I probably went to the gym and I did a hard workout, one of the hardest workouts. I'm doing that because I want to reinforce my intention. Why? So that my intention gains momentum so that I can override my current identity, okay? And I want to do this fast, right? So when I set an intention back when I was 41 years old, I'm 42 now, what I said is I'm going to set an intention to develop the habit of running, okay? And what I did is, understanding how intention works. Well, number one, I'm aware that my previous identity is going to say like, no, like don't run. It's going to affect your back. You're not a runner. Your dad wasn't a runner, this and that. So what I did is that number one, I was aware of that. Number two, I went and bought myself some shoes, right? So I was quick. I was fast. You got to be fast. Okay. And then number three, I went for an 8.5 mile run. Yes, I stopped I probably walked about 2 of those miles. I will admit, but I did something that was very intense because that's going to reinforce the new identity and it's going to tell the old identity, shut the hell up. I'm committed to who I'm becoming and I'm not going back. So because I set the intention so strong, right? I followed through, I bought myself some shoes. And then number 2, I went on a run, right? And I went on a long run, right? But you want to make it a spiritual run. You want to make this a spiritual intention. Don't be passive about it. I'm telling you, the old is going to win you over. They're going to win you back, right? So you want to make this spiritual. You see, I put on some headsets. I put on some good quality music that was going to move me, right? You don't want to take the setting of a new intention lightly, right? And you want to have a spiritual encounter with this intention so that you can spark it up, right? You can light it up so that momentum will carry you forward to the next step, the next step, the next step, and the next step until the old identity is finally dead, right? So I want to say it was about 5 to 6 weeks, 6 weeks after I set my intention, I was already running a 12-mile run. Okay, now keep in mind, this is somebody who has lower back problems. I was probably running max 1 to 2 miles. That was my ability back then when I set that intention was to run about 1 to 2 miles. I was probably doing about a 12-minute mile. So for me to have gone in 6 weeks and gone from that to a 12-mile run at an average of about 8 minutes and 40-second mile, right? That's all because I understand how to set an intention. It's not because of my genetics. As a matter of fact, I have a bad back. My dad had about 40 surgeries, so it has nothing to do with any of that, right? So today I consider myself to be a runner. As a matter of fact, I'm in shorts right now. I'll probably go for a run later on today. So you got to fall in love with the initial experience in setting an intention, all the way from the intention. You want to make this a spiritual a spiritual journey when you're creating a new intention, or else the current identity is going to hold you back. Your family members are going to hold you back. Your friends are going to hold you back. And you're going to fall prey to the 95% of people out here who never make it in becoming who they were truly destined to become. Now let's apply focus. Okay, focus is next. So we're talking about attitude. We're talking about intention, what it is. There's going to be resistance. We're talking about speed, which is basically closing the gap between the intention and the next step and the next and the next. And then we're talking about focus, right? You want to have singularity of focus. You want to place as much focus as possible on your intention until you have plenty of momentum. What do I mean plenty of momentum? Plenty of momentum means that you are now excited about running. You're excited about doing the thing that you set an intention to do, and it's now becoming effortless, right? So you want to pull about 80% of your focus. So this means that you're going to have to take a little bit of inventory and say, where am I placing my focus, right? Because where you focus on for an extended period of time, that is who you believe you are, okay? I'll repeat that. Wherever you place your focus on for an extended period of time, you believe that you are. So an intention, we said it's a thought or a belief that you're setting into your subconscious mind. Yes? So what we want to do is that we now want to focus on that. We want to obsess about that. You want to think about that. I have a 14-day program. It's a running program, and it basically leads you to develop the habit of running within a matter of 2 weeks. And as a matter of fact, you fall in love with it probably around the third day because of the strategy involved in setting this intention. You see, so what happens is that when I have people follow through with that program, when I have people do that program, I teach them that you're going to have to be focused on this. I want you to obsess about this, right? So all day long, right, they're looking forward to going on that run, right? If it's you're trying to take your relationship to the next level, then your focus is going to have to be on that, right? 80% of your focus, right? And whatever you focus on, you're going to start to become spiritually involved with it. In other words, your spirit is going to start to become involved with the thing that you're focused on. Now, what spirit is going to get involved is dependent of what you're trying to accomplish, right? If you want to destroy somebody and you focus long enough on that, well, then the oppositional spirit is going to start to join forces with you, and it's going to make that happen really, really fast. If you're focused on improving your relationship, your body, your connection with God, your health, your finances, you're focused on discovering what it is that your purpose is, and you focus long enough on that, long enough as in 80%, 75 to 80% of your focus is going to have to go into your intention, right? In order for your spirit, which is the Spirit of God within you, so that the Spirit of God within you can become involved with what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And your spirit will handle all of the details for you. So focus is the last part of setting an intention. You want to place it there for long enough because you start to believe that that is who you are, and whatever you believe you are is going to show up in the acts of what you do. So now it's your turn. That's the first episode. I wanted to keep this as short as possible for you guys and very simple, okay? Remember that God is a God of simplicity. Remember that the enemy, complexity is the enemy to execution. So whenever you set an intention or a goal and you're going to start to improve a certain area of your life, what's going to happen is that your current identity is going to make things very complex, right? So we want to simplify things down to the T, and that's what the Indomitable Podcast is all about. It's about giving you strategy and technique to implement into the essentials, the fundamentals of your life. And intention it's one of those. It's where most people are failing, but not today, because now you have strategy. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And not only that, but I encourage you guys to take action. Please listen to this again and again and again and again, because if you're focused on learning how to set an intention, you start to believe that you are a person of intention. Because if you already have the habit of setting an intention and not following through, then you currently believe that you are a person that is not intentional. So now you're going to have to develop the habit of being intentional. And to do that, you want to study on it. So replay this message, highlight, write every word down, word per word, and watch as you're going to start to become emotionally involved with setting an intention. Your spirit's going to kick in, and all of the actions that proceed are going to become effortless. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode, which is probably going to be on purpose. I love talking about purpose. That's where most people are stuck. They don't know how to discover. They're not living on purpose, and they know that they have a purpose within them, but they don't know how to discover that purpose. And that's what I'm going to be talking about next. That's going to be a lengthy one, a little bit longer. It requires a lot more detail, and I look forward to sharing that with you guys. Send us a message if you want us to send you that. Subscribe to this podcast or YouTube, wherever you're listening to this. And hit that bell notification so that you can get notifications on this. And if you have any questions, drop them down below. Any comments, suggestions, please feel free to engage and to share this with somebody else who's also wanting to set an intention, to somebody who wants to live on purpose, who wants to live intentionally, and who is serious about personal growth. Don't forget to pick up your sword. Your sword is your purpose. Your sword is your calling. Your sword is the truth, the light, the thing that connects you, that keeps you connected to your truth, and that doesn't allow you to fall into the patterns of pride. Thank you. I'll see you next time.